too.
So is it just kind of trying to find like a normal with it that you can
Yeah,
adapt
it's just
to?
look. Like I said, this is one of those things. I don't know how it's going to respond. I have this week to kind of figure out the best process. What is my effectiveness in doing what I need to do to help us win, and that's just kind of the stage that we're in.
How effective? How did you feel at practice today? And do you kind of change the size of like what you're wearing on your finger? How much of a process is that?
Yeah, look, I felt okay throwing the ball today. Again, it was kind of one of those things Sunday where I felt like I was able to do what I needed to do, and I think that will be, again, a work in progress throughout this week to see what my effectiveness is. As far as what I do as far as the splint and tape and all that, we've tried a handful of different things already. We'll continue to try other things and figure out what works best.
Could the weather conditions affect any of that stuff too? Like the weather?
Yeah, look, we'll keep an eye on the weather. I know Sean made a comment that there's rain in the forecast, and certainly having a hand injury and having a weather game is not ideal. But we'll continue to work through that and figure out the best solution to what I'm dealing with.
Is it something that'll eventually have to get surgery or?
No. There's a couple options. You can have surgery, you can fix it that way, or you can splint it for 8 weeks, and hopefully that scars down and you have the full use of your hand. So we've explored different options. We've had multiple conversations with other specialists, and I think right now I'm gonna just try to splint it and see how that does. But if you can avoid surgery, I'm certainly a fan of doing that.
Is it because of the finger that you dropped the water?
No.
So seriously, I wondered do you feel like this has been a bit of a overall relatively difficult year for you that could still, in spite of all that, end up being rather fulfilling because of the opportunity that's in front of you for the last?
I don't know. I mean, look, we've talked at length of this year for me and the ups and the downs, and managing expectations and disappointment and all that stuff. And I will tell you, throughout this year, I have learned that you manage the opportunities that come your way, and that's really been where my mindset has been. What can I do each week to help our team win football games and be effective? And so that mindset has carried me through the season. It's no different now than it was last week than the previous week. And so now that I've had an opportunity to play full-time QB, this is the next opportunity for me. And I'm going to do everything I can to take advantage of that and help us win games.
With difficulty, I also meant a little bit the injuries too. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But now you obviously have experience with injuries before pro football. Did that perspective help you?
For sure. I think as as a football player in general, you have these moments where you realize that you can't take things for granted. I certainly had a lot of those moments in college. And then I would say this year I've had a lot of moments like that too, where there was a disappointment obviously at the beginning of the season, dealt with a concussion, missed a couple weeks, and sitting at home watching your team play without you was definitely one of those moments for me that you can't take for granted these moments. You can't take for granted your health, and then dealing with the foot and missing a couple more weeks, and and then I come back and I get to play full-time QB. So this year's been a little bit of a roller coaster for me, physically, mentally, and all that stuff. But to answer your question, yes, my experience in college has certainly helped me manage that, and this year has been no different in having moments that help you realize you just can't take these moments for granted.
Is there a, you said it's a process of figuring it out. Is there a moment like on Friday or Saturday or Sunday that you feel uncomfortable and say, this isn't for the benefit of the team, or do you think you'll be okay?
Look, that's a tough thing to do.
Sure.
I'm trying to find that balance. If I'm being honest, and I've had conversation with some of the coaches. Like, listen, I'm going out to play. I'm going out to compete. I'm going out to practice at full go this week, and if you guys see something to where you feel like I can't be as effective as I need to be, then I get it, and I'm a team guy. Like I'll be available to play at whatever capacity that looks like. But my mindset, is to prepare to play at full capacity, and then we'll go from there. I don't know how else to approach it.
Can you still get all the steam on the ball that you?
As I mentioned earlier, it's a work in progress. So I'm figuring out the best process to make sure I can make all the throws that I need to. I felt pretty comfortable today making the throws that I needed to, though.
What were the positives you took from the last game?
Look, I think we moved the ball. I think we had over 400 yards of total offense, and so you look at some of those numbers and you're like, wow, that was a positive from this game. And then you kind of start watching it and you look at some of the stuff that happened and you're like, well, yeah, you realize you put 17 points up because you had 4 turnovers. And so all the positives were just kind of overshadowed by the turnovers. So when you did have opportunities to score, we didn't take advantage of them. But I thought overall, our tempo was good, man. I thought guys played, hard with a lot of, passion, and, I thought that we did a lot of things really well up front. We moved the ball, we ran the ball well. Again, it's just overshadowed by the turnovers.
Did you think a hurdle was in the equation for you with the other foot injury?
You never know.
Like you're moving pretty well out there.
Yeah, you just never know. Look, you get on the field and your instincts just kind of take over, and that was one of those moments where instincts take over, and I think in my head too, like your foot's bothering you, all this, and the mindset for me last week was, hey, get to Sunday, because Sunday you get on the field and your instincts are going to take over, adrenaline, and you're going to have the ability to do what you need to, and that's how I felt Thursday.
Whatever day it was.
Yeah.
No one knows what day it is anymore. Sounds like a silly question, but what does the finger, what does it feel like? Does it sting? Does it burn? Does it not feel, does it feel weird? How would you
No,
describe that?
I don't have a lot of pain with the finger. I've kept it splinted since it happened, and so that really I haven't had any pain when it's in the splint. I think the sensation of gripping the ball, throwing the ball, that has changed, and that's been the biggest thing. And as I mentioned earlier, it's trying to figure out what is the best process to have that feel as normal as possible, and that's what we're working through, because you do something to your hand and your finger on your throwing hand, and all of a sudden things change and you're trying to adjust.
When you're gripping the ball, what does it feel like? Your finger is weak? What does that feel like for somebody who wouldn't know what that's like?
Yeah, I think it's a little limiting, because you don't have every joint that you're able to grip the ball, and so your grip doesn't feel as strong when gripping and throwing the ball. So we're trying to do things to compensate for that.
I know you said you're looking for the best process. Did you feel like you kind of found that process today, or do you feel like you're going to need a little bit more time to hone in on it?
Well, I think for the options that have been presented to me, yes, I have found the best option that's been presented. But I know that there are other ideas that are circulating about a few other options. So we'll continue to explore it.
You ran for 100 yards in that game, and also still were able to throw for a lot. It's probably not going to be any worse than it was in the last game, right? And do you think that your dual threat component in many ways, or do you hope kind of on balance makes it a favorable situation, even if there's a little bit off in your throwing?
It certainly adds a different element for a defense to try to defend and stop. So I think that certainly helps to answer your question. So yeah, I think that being able to run the ball really well opens up your pass game, and that historically has always been, let's establish the run so we can open things up down the field. So I think that helps. But I'm certainly not interested in going out there and playing mediocre football. So I think that's the balance right now.
So if you were just a pocket passer and didn't run, you'd still feel with the finger as it is like you should still be playing, or no?
I don't know. I think, again, if I'm not able to function as a pocket passer, then it's not fair to those around me if I can't do that. So I think that's just where we're at.
How important do you think are the next 5 weeks to proving that hey, I can do this on this level?
Look, I'm not overcomplicating anything. My mindset is far from that as possible. This is the opportunity that's in front of me right now, and look, I don't care if I'm the full-time starting quarterback, or I'm playing tight end and running back and QB at times, or special teams, or whatever it is. When I'm retired and I'm doing whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to do whatever I can as good as I possibly can. And I know what I'm capable of doing as a football player, and I'm comfortable with that. So I'm not overcomplicating anything, and I'm taking it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and I'm gonna give it my all, whatever it is. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You're gonna be
No, you can take some lessons from them.
Is the green new?
Yeah, a couple days new. I'm gonna shout out, Nola Brader, Morgan,
Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something, because that's kind of hard to miss. Do you feel any added pressure this week and the upcoming weeks, knowing that Deontay isn't going to be available for y'all?
Not really. I mean, Deontay was a big part of our offense, so that'll hurt us. But like how we've been doing all season, next guy got to be able to step up. And this week, Aesop's going to get the chance. And, he's been waiting all season. Him and KB been going at it with scout team. And it's Aesop's turn. He's going to do what he can to step up. I'm excited for him. I know he's excited.
Are you working at punt return, kick return this week?
Probably. Going down. So.
Have you seen Lil Jordan just throughout the year kind of grow and progress and be able to step up and do more?
Man, Lil Jordan's always been, a guy that was always ready to step in and just make the play, be the guy, whether it's blocking or catching touchdowns. And he was up at the beginning of the season. Then we moved him down, and Coach always told him every week, just be ready. Coach always has our back, has our side, and he's told him every week, and just be ready. Never know what's going to happen. And the last few weeks, it's been paid off, and I think it's showing that he's actually can do it. And I think the coaches know now, so they won't be afraid.
You see anything behind the scenes in his effort that's changed, or you talked about doing more film work, and have you been able to see any of that?
Yeah, all the time. Whether it's weight room or film or just in practice. He's always the guy that has to back up everybody. He's the guy who knows multiple spots. So forbid if anybody goes down, he's the guy that they're gonna move around and be that chess piece. So he knows what he's doing, and he's just showing it on Sundays now.
Because how tough is Taysom just either out there running for 100 yards on his foot, playing the whole game with a messed up finger?
I say everybody know how tough Taysom is. Just being able to play all the positions he's played, and just being able to fight through everything he's been fighting through. This season hasn't been well to us injury-wise, and we got people playing through injuries that you wouldn't know. You got people, that's injured, that's not playing, but it's showing how he just went out there and ran over 100. You said over 100?
Yeah.
Over 100 yards with a foot and a hand injury, playing quarterback. I mean, everything's right there in front of you,
not talking about effective or ineffective or anything like that, but just wondering if you can tell any kind of difference in Taysom's throws when he's wearing the splint.
So I honestly didn't know he was wearing the splint.
On his finger, middle finger, and throwing hand, yeah.
So I didn't know he was wearing the splint, to be honest, so I couldn't even tell you.
How do y'all look at last week's offensive performance? It seemed like y'all were moving the ball a little better than you had in previous weeks, but the turnovers were bad. Like, how do you kind of weigh those things against each other?
I mean, it's not a fact that, you know, we can't do it, because everybody here can play, everybody's talented, and, you know, we do what we can, you know. So being able to go out there against a good Dallas defense and, you know, put up what we did, regardless of the turnovers. I mean, if we didn't have the turnovers, it would be a different game. You know, if we didn't do some things that hurt ourselves, it would have been a different game. So I think the best thing is to clean up our mess, limit the turnovers, limit the penalties, and just off that, it would have be a whole different outcome maybe. So. Good.
You intentionally wear mismatched shirts? How frustrating has it been, just the last 5 weeks and the losing streak, if that's just not something that happens around here very often?
Yeah, it's definitely not. You know, the culture's been established. It's a winning culture traditionally, and, you know, 5 weeks in a row, we've been on the wrong side of it. So it's tough, it's very frustrating. Obviously, it's pretty easy to be motivated when you've lost 5 in a row. So if you're looking for the positives, I guess that's one of the few.
In your estimation, how tough is Taysom playing through what he's been doing?
Sometimes I just look at him and I'm kind of like, dude, I don't know how exactly you're able to continue going, or, you know, battling through the various things through his career. Yeah, he's a warrior for sure, and it's great to have guys like that on the team. You know, you're playing, you know he's going to be accountable to you, and you know he's going to leave everything he has out on the field, and he expects you to do the same. So it's great. He's a great teammate, great quarterback. Just love playing with him.
You're somebody, you played with Lamar, right?
Yep.
What's the difference when you're playing with somebody like Lamar, like Taysom, who's going to be moving around, can scramble? Like how does that change the thing for you?
I think there's a certain level of like risk management from a defensive standpoint. You know, you can be aggressive and maybe blitz and pressure and you know, try to kind of contain guys like that in the pocket, and that's great until it's not, and, you know, they break out and they run for 30 yards. So I think just understanding that, you know, hey, we might see a few different schemes from our perspective, and, you know, these are some things that they might try to do to contain him, to maybe keep him in the pocket, and to make sure that, you know, he's not going to beat them, you know, in 4 different ways. They're going to try to limit how many ways he could beat you.
And yeah, I don't think this was an issue last week, but if he's kind of moving side to side laterally in the pocket, you have to kind of like watch out for holding penalties, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's just one of those things you got to know when you have to understand, like, okay, you know, you're blocking, and then at the last second, you know, a guy's gonna kind of shut off, and you got to understand, just you got to let go. You know, the block's over. I've done everything I can to that point and let go and move on.
What's the toughest injury you've ever played through?
Back injury, for sure. Missed some time. This was, I think, 5 years ago now. Herniated discs, missed some time, and back injuries. Anyone that's had them, football or not, you just know. You know, you can lay down on the couch and be in pain. So those are pretty terrible.
What were your overall impressions of the way the offense functioned in the first game with Taysom playing from the beginning to the end?
I think there was a lot of good things on film. Overall, I think we can't turn the ball over. You know, some of those giving up too much pressure. You know, kind of the pocket's getting collapsed, and he's having to make throws. You know, whether it's backing up or kind of off balance, stuff like that. But yeah, I think we did some good things. We ran the ball well. I think there were some moments in the game where we were able to get some momentum and sustain some drives, which we weren't as consistent maybe in weeks past doing that. So I think that was really good. I think there's a lot of things that we saw that were encouraging that we know we can build on that, maybe 3-4 weeks ago we weren't doing, and we saw some glimpses. So we're pretty happy with a few of those things.
You feel like you have a good rhythm with the blocking when on the quarterback runs and stuff like that? Some of those seem pretty effective.
Yeah, definitely. They were really effective. Taysom's great. So much of that is timing when the quarterback's running as opposed to the running back. There's a handoff, and the quarterback, when he's running, he catches a snap and he can go. So a lot of it's timing and him pausing. But Taysom's he's really good at setting those blocks up for us and making it feel like, to us, within the play, it feels like any other run play, and he's just so good at making us right, really.
Did the hurdle look different on film than what you saw on the field?
It was impressive both times, in a different way. But it was like, I guess New England maybe. I was right up close and personal on that one, and then saw that one from afar. But yeah, I feel like he's jumping like above my shoulders. After running full speed, so it's crazy.
How weird is it to have a quarterback who runs for 100 yards in an NFL game and he's on your team?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great feeling to know that not only are we able to run the ball, but it keeps them off balance, right? They can't just plan on all of your running back runs. You've got to account for Taysom back there by himself being able to run the ball. So that's good to stress the defense in a lot of different ways.
Obviously you're on the other side of the line, so you don't see how he's playing in the game, but what did film show that how Jordan did?
Oh, sorry, who?
Mills.
Jordan? Oh, yeah. I thought it was pretty good. First game with us. I've seen him play in years past. He's obviously an experienced veteran player. He was going against very fresh DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, which are two really good players, but I thought he did a good job. He's ferocious. He's got a lot of energy, brings a lot of energy in the way that he plays. Very physical style. He obviously knows that it wasn't a perfect game for him, but I think overall it was good.
What's the difference between blocking for like a runner that's Taysom style and one that runs kind of like more creatively, I guess, like Lamar?
I think it's just different. I think Taysom is like so powerful, right? So he's running. You realize he's like outrunning linebackers and DBs at times, and then he's going to put his foot in the ground and run somebody over. Whereas Lamar is he's just more shifty, going to make people totally miss, make them look bad. But the way that Taysom runs just brings so much energy. Like when you see your quarterback 30 yards down the field running over a 260-pound player that is trying to tackle him, it's just a testament to kind of his mindset when he plays. And we all know that he's putting it all out on the field. He's giving everything he has. They're going to have to pull him off the field if he can't go anymore. And you just love it. You love blocking for a guy like that. You love that he's your quarterback.
When's the last time you tried to hurdle somebody?
I don't know if I've ever tried to hurdle somebody. I think it's more of an awareness, strengths and weaknesses. There's certain things I can do and certain things I can't. I'm pretty sure that's a can't. So.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it.
Good, how you doing?
What was it like getting CJ back at practice today?
It's great, man. He brings a lot of energy, somebody we've missed on the defense. So anytime you can get one of your players back, it's a good day.
So what are some of the things you see out of the Jets and what they try to do to attack the secondary?
They play hard. They got a lot of good players. They got good receivers. So like any week, just gonna have to attack it, learn their tendencies, and then just make sure we're locked in on our details.
You didn't do any like pre-draft workouts or anything with Elijah Mitchell, did you? Did you know him at all?
Elijah Moore.
Yeah, Moore. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I didn't do any pre-draft with him, but kept up with him as far as the kind of player he is, and he's been having a good season. So definitely someone that we have to be locked in on.
I think he covered Elijah Mitchell at ULL, right?
Probably. Yeah.
He did.
Okay. Yeah, just
unless he changed his last name.
Yeah.
The running back for San Fran now.
It's hard when people have similar names.
Yeah.
Like all the Williamses.
Yeah.
He played for
the
Louisiana
XJs.
Lafayette.
Just coming in there, is there anything, we hear people talk about like a winning culture a lot. Is there anything that you feel like about that going through a 5-game losing streak that kind of keeps a perspective, just being a winning culture?
Yeah, I guess you can kind of feel it. I mean, it's my first year here, so I'm still just trying to, learn from the older guys and just try to take away anything that they've kind of learned throughout their careers, being on a bunch of different teams. So kind of talking to the older guys and how do you come back from a situation like this. But as far as me, just trying to learn from them, I don't really, have too much of the wisdom yet. So.
Is there anything you'd like to see the defense as a whole do better? Is there anything that's just sticking out on film where you feel like just as a unit, like to shore up?
Let me do a lot of things better. I know personally, I just kind of try to focus on what I could do better. Looking back at the film, am I in the correct spots? Am I making all the right calls? Am I, busting coverage? Am I covering my dude every time? So I kind of just try to focus on my part of the puzzle.
We talked to you a lot about sitting out last year and everything, but now that you're 12 games into a season, having not played last year, do you feel like does that help you in this stage? Just like, are you feeling fresh at this stage of the season? A lot of guys talk about hitting like rookie walls.
Yeah, I have no clue. I just try to play hard every week. Don't really know if it's helping me or hurting me, but just come to work every day.
But you feeling?
I feel great.
Up right now?
Yeah, I feel great. It's a little cold.
I gotta chill. I'm sorry.
It's like 20 degrees colder in the shadows than it is out there in the sun. It's crazy.
I think we're all good, man. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Paul.